Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is joining because only 26 is showing in that it will be only 24 students. Why the number is so less? Please ask your friend to join the meeting. Okay, I hope we have covered our second version of our Euler-Lagrange's theorem. First, we have seen is the integration I. Integration is equals to from x1 to x2 the function f of x y dash dx will be extremum, that is either minimum or maximum, if the integrand f satisfy Euler-Lagrange's equation. This equation we have derived with the help of a maxima minima conditions, right? In the very similar way, we have derived another one, that is instead of having a single dependent variable, we have several dependent variable. Just like this x will be as it is, and here it is, instead of having simply value of y is y1, y2 up to yn, and similarly here we have y1 dash, y2 dash, and so on up to yn dash dx. And corresponding to that, we have got the equation as dou f by dou yi minus d by dx of dou f by dou yi dash is equals to 0. For what values of I equals to 1 to up to so on n, right? So in this way we have seen these two and many examples we have solved related to this one. And now we will go to solve the examples related to this Euler-Lagrange's equation. Instead of having a single, we can have more than one dependent variable. It may the number n may be 2, 3, 4, and so on. If n is equals to 1, it reduces to our first Euler-Lagrange's theorem. Okay. Is there any doubt for up to today's lecture? If there, you can ask.
No, ma'am.
Let me go for the examples of this theorem which we have seen in the last lecture. So let me write down, find the extremal of the function. So find extremal of the functional. What is a functional given to us? Z of x. It is the integrand I is not simply a function. It is now function of two dependent variable. What are those two dependent variable are z and y. And what is independent variable in this case? It is x. Okay. So as integration is with respect to x, we in this equation here there will be x. Instead of having only one dependent variable y, here we have I, which means that we have two dependent variable. Up to now we were writing the equation of the form I y of x. That means y is only one dependent variable. Okay. But now we have two dependent variable, and corresponding to that we will get two Euler-Lagrange's equation, and we have to solve these two Euler-Lagrange's equation. Okay. So whenever you are going to appear for the physical exam, what will be the question? If the question is like this, right? So actually, at the time of exam, all the four units will be covered and all the syllabus will be completed, right? So in that we have seen the six forms, right? Suppose that we have completed our syllabus and we have seen the six forms of Euler-Lagrange, right? So at that time, you will be confusing which form for this example, right? Because what is a question? Find the function. They don't give you what which Euler-Lagrange's theorem you have to use. Okay, they simply give that find the extremal of the function by using these condition. What are the conditions? Z of 0 is 0, and here it is y of pi by 2 is equals to 1, and z of pi by 2 is equals to minus 1. Okay, so subject to the condition, we are provided with some initial condition. So at that time, it will be confusing that which theorem or which Euler-Lagrange's equation which should apply. At that time, what you have to do? First, you have to see how many. Now in this case, we have seen only two forms. First one is with single dependent variable and single independent variable. But here in the second case, we have more than one dependent variable. That is, instead of having simply y, we can have some another variable. Okay. So at that time, we can use the second form. That is, instead of having only dou f by dou y, we can have dou f by dou y as one equation with y and another equation with dou f by dou z. Okay. So while writing in the exam, you should write down. So this, whatever the equation we are provided, it will be fitting in the which form? The Euler-Lagrange's equation for several dependent variables. Okay. Now it is easy for you because whenever you are going to have a method and then after that we are going to take an example. But if suppose in general you are provided with the example, so at that time you will be confusing out of all those six forms of Euler-Lagrange's equation which should be applied to which example. अगर आप सेम एग्जाम्पल को दूसरा कोई मेथड जो अप्लाई नहीं होता है वो अप्लाई करोगे तो ऑब्वियसली यू विल नॉट गेट द करेक्ट आंसर. Okay, so you should see clearly what is the question and then you can select which method should be applied. Euler-Lagrange's equation for the several dependent variable that we will apply for this one, right? So what will be the equation for that? We have the equation is dou f by dou yi minus d by dx of dou f by dou yi dash is equals to 0 for I equal to 1 and 2 only, because we have the values of um, that is dependent variable are 2 in number. That means we can say y1 is equals to y and y2 is equals to z by your theorem. We have y1, y2 up to so on yn. Instead of having we have n equals to 2. That means only two dependent variable. Okay. Okay, let me write down for the first one, that is dou f by dou y minus d by dx of dou f by dou y dash. Okay, what is another equation? Now the another equation will be in terms of z. Dou f by dou z minus d by dx of f with respect to z dash is equals to 0. Okay. Still again only 33 students are there. See, whenever you are going to come in contact with the friends, those who are not attending the lecture, so you should tell them that if you are not going to attend the lectures, I am not going to upload any video lecture on the YouTube. Okay. Whatever the things you are going to study on the online class, that will be the sufficient one. Okay. And tell this to all your friends because they are thinking that all the lectures are available on YouTube. I am not going to upload any lecture from today onwards. Okay. And इट इज जस्ट लाइक द अर्लियर वन ना, अगर ऑनलाइन है इसीलिए हम रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं ना, अगर आपका फिजिकल होता तो हम थोड़ी ना रिकॉर्ड करते थे ना, अभी तक तो ऐसे ही चल रहा था सब कुछ, राइट? So don't assume that every time you will get a YouTube lecture. I am rather we all four faculty from today onwards are not going to upload any video lecture on the YouTube. So tell your friends if you want to complete your MSc with sincerely, so you should attend the lectures. Okay. Otherwise, we can take some strict action. Those who are not attending the lectures. Convey the message to your friends. Those who are not attending. Okay, so what is your function f? In this case, f is equals to, that is integrand f is equal to y dash square plus z dash square plus 2 times yz. Now we have to differentiate f with respect to y. There is no term of y here and here, so it will be 0. So after differentiating this term with respect to y, it will be simply 2 times z. As we are differentiating partially, so z will be treated as a constant minus d by dx of f with respect to y dash. How many terms are there which involve y dash? Only first term. All other will be, the derivative of all other with respect to y dash will be 0. So here I can write 2y dash which is equals to 0. Okay. So now this 2 I can take common, which we can write the equation as if we are going to differentiate with respect to s. This y dash I can now write it as y double dash. Okay. Is it okay with this up to now? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let us go for the next. Now we are going to differentiate f with respect to z. Again, derivative of f with respect to z. There is no term of z for in the first and second term. After differentiating the last term with respect to z, it is simply 2 times y minus d by dx of f with respect to z dash. What will be the term? There is no term of z dash here. Here also, so we are going to differentiate the second term. It will be simply 2 z dash is equals to 0, right? So again, if you can take a, if you can divide by 2 or you can take 2 common and then we can get, again if it is derivative with respect to x, instead of having z dash we can write z double dash is equals to 0, right? What is z dash? Z dash is nothing but dz by dx. And what is our y dash? Y dash is nothing but dy by dx. So again, if we are going to differentiate with respect to x here, so it will be converted to only z double dash and y double dash. So in this way, how many equations we are getting? We will get two equations. One is y double dash is equal to z. We can name it as 1. Another is y is equal to z double dash. That is nothing but second equation. Now we have to solve these two equations, right? So up to now, if you remember, we were only solving for y dash. आतापर्यंत जे example solve केले, आपण काय करत होतो y dash square, त्याच्यानंतर y dash, and then we are going to integrate, and then we will find out the value of y. Okay, but now in this case, we should find out the solution y as well as z. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next one, now we will find out the relation between these two. Now, if you can see clearly, if I am going to substitute the value of y as z double dash in this equation, okay? If I am going to substitute value of y as z double dash, so value of y later on we will substitute, and here it is double dash will keep as it is. What is the value of y from the equation 2 is nothing but z double dash. Already double dash is there here, okay? Have you understood this step?
Yes, ma'am.
So it will be z triple, z4. That is fourth derivative of a z minus z is equals to 0. In general, we can write this as, rather if you come to our y also. If you want to write down this equation for y, what will be the case if it is y is equal to z double dash, right? I am just showing you that we can solve in both way, right? So what is the value of a z from equation 1? Now we can substitute value of z in equation 1. So y is equal to, value of z is nothing but y double dash, and this double dash will be as it is because value of z is simply y double dash. So in this equation, we can have the value of this term, we can write it as y fourth minus y is equals to 0. You can solve these two equations, any one from these two equations. Right, because these two equations are combinations of one another. So can anyone tell me from this what will be the equation in terms of d? Is it d raised to 4 minus 1 is equals to 0? If you
Yes,
remember,
ma'am.
solved many example like this in your BSc. Okay, so if it is of the form, then we can have the characteristic equation. At every time, you should write down in the exam the characteristic equation is given by, and this is auxiliary equation, and hence we can have characteristic equation is nothing but r raised to 4 minus 1. Now, I suggest everyone to solve this and tell me the roots.
R is equals to
Plus minus
plus
1
or
and plus
minus 1
minus
and
I.
plus minus I.
Correct. R is equal to plus or minus 1 and plus or minus I. You can solve this equation also, no doubt the same type of a equation. So hence we can solve any one because these are nothing but the combinations of the above two equations. Okay. I hope now there is no problem for solving these roots. Right. Differential equation paper is also simultaneously going on. So you can get the roots of this equation. It is not necessary now to show how to find out the root. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, still, now let us go for solution. So, what will be the case in the case of solution? It will be of the form C1 e raised to x plus C2 e raised to minus x plus, as it is in the form of a conjugate pair, that is, this is in the form of a complex.
Alpha plus or minus I beta.
So, it will be of the form
C3 cos x
C3
uh,
cos
plus C4
C3
sin x.
C4
cos
sin
plus C4.
sin x.
Okay. Now we can say this is what a required solution. But this is the required solution. I hope the sir told you that what is a geometric interpretation behind this solution of any differential equation, right? What is a geometric interpretation of a solution of this differential equation? Suppose it is instead of having the four roots, if it is of two roots, simple one. काय geometric interpretation आहे याचा? Any differential equation if you are solving, what is the meaning of that solution? Solution निकालते हो मतलब क्या करते हो?
त्या इक्वेशन मध्ये सबस्टिट्यूट केल्यानंतर ते इक्वेशन सॅटिस्फाय झालं पाहिजे.
No doubt that is true. That is the what definition of a solution. पण हे सोल्युशन तुम्हाला जॉमेट्रिकली काय दाखवतो का काय मिनिंग नाही आहे त्याचं? आणि सोल्युशन हे ई रेस टू च्या फॉर्ममध्येच का लिहितो? कारण की tan x, cot x कुठल्याही फॉर्ममध्ये लिहू शकतो ना. If suppose I want to write down the solution in the form of cos, sin, tan, cot, why we are writing in the form of e raised to x only? We can write in the form of tan, cot, sec, cosec, sin, cos. Many functions are there. Why every time whenever you solve the differential equation, why we write in the form of e raised to r1x, where r is a root? झालंय ना हे? सुरू केलेत ना?
येस मॅम, बट जॉमेट्रिकल इंटरप्रिटेशन नाही माहिती.
ओके. कुठेपर्यंत झालं तुमचं?
आपल्याला इंडिपेंडेंट सोल्युशन्स मिळतात ना मॅडम, मग त्याने बेसिस फॉर्म होते.
हा मग
मग
पण मॅमनी क्वेश्चन e⁻x चा विचारलाय.
मग ते आपण
Irrespective is always positive.
हा पॉझिटिव्ह असते इरेस्ट्रेक्ट.
हा पॉझिटिव्ह असेल तर यूज करायचे का त्याला? कुठलंही फंक्शन घेऊ शकतो ना मागे. एक्स स्क्वेअर इज ऑल्सो पॉझिटिव्ह विदिन पर्टिक्युलर इंटरवल. No doubt your answer is correct, but you should tell one more thing to include that. Have you seen the graph of e raised to x, anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
What is a graph? If we can have, it is here in this form, no? And e raised to minus x means it is in this form. So whenever you are going to see this graph is no doubt increasing, but it is not going to touch the your x-axis anywhere. What do you mean by not going to touch your x-axis? Means what? Its value is never going to vanish. Correct? And if suppose you are going to take any other function, just like just now I told you y is equal to x square is also positive one. But if you are going to check the value of x square at x equal to 0, it will be equal to 0. But if you are going to find out the solution of any differential equation, it should be true in our real line. So this y is equal to e raised to x or e raised to rx, you can have the graph of their are like this, correct? So this is what e raised to x and this is e raised to minus x. So you can see here the graph is not going to touch your x-axis anywhere. मतलब वो कभी zero होता ही नहीं है, right? So this we can verify in anywhere. मतलब आप जब solution निकाल रहे हो, suppose आप cos x ले रहे हो, अगर आपका cos x in the particular interval अगर zero आ रहा है, तो what do you mean by that? Your solution is zero. But here this is non-zero function, right? It's not going to vanish anywhere. And even I hope you come across that theorem in which we are showing that the region of solution for any differential equation is this region within the e raised to x and e raised to minus x. ते theorem झाला का तुमचा? Norm of phi of x which is less equal by e raised to
Yes, ma'am.
x
X minus x naught.
norm of phi of x naught. And here norm of phi of x naught, इथे पण e raised to a mod of x minus x naught काहीतरी येतं, इथे negative आहे. So what do you mean by this theorem? This norm of phi of x is nothing but your solution ना. Phi of x म्हणजे हे solution होतं तुमच्या differential equationचं, correct? So what do you mean by this is solution? This solution lies in this region. What is this region? This is nothing but norm of phi of x into e raised to that mod of x minus x naught. And here is also e raised to minus x naught into norm of phi of x naught. So with the help of these two, we can have the resultant is meaning that this norm is lying in this region. That means your solution is lying in this region. And what do you mean by the solution of differential equation? For different values of C1 and C2, how many equation I can get? Can anyone tell me for different values of C1 and CT how many equations I can write for this? काढतो ना आपण C1 C2 चे काय values?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ah.
ma'am.
So how many different values of C1 and C2 I can get?
Unique, ma'am.
No doubt it is unique, but with some initial condition ना. मी initial condition change केलं तर दुसरा C1 C2 मिळणार ना मला.
Yes, ma'am.
So how many this type of C1 C2 are possible?
Infinite, depending on initial conditions.
That means what do you mean by infinitely many equations we are possible having for any differential equation? The differential equation has this solution and just now you told that for different values of C1, C2, we can have infinitely many equation, right? So which means that a single differential equation can have infinitely many solution. So whenever you are going to have a question like this, so you should say that a differential equation has infinitely many solutions for different values of C1 and C2. rather constants we can say. If it is of the four time differentiable, so it is rather it is a fourth order, then it will have four constant. Correct. Now, one may have a question like this. तुमचं हे झालं का इनिशियल व्हॅल्यू प्रॉब्लेम डीई मध्ये?
येस मॅम.
Yes, ma'am.
You have covered that na existence theorem and uniqueness theorem.
येस मॅम.
So what these theorems tell you that out of all those infinitely many solutions of differential equation, because suppose I am writing here for different values of C1 and C2. Suppose I will take the value of C1 is e raised to x and sorry, C1 is 1 plus value of C2 if I am taking it 2. Suppose C3 we take as say 4 cos x, and if suppose value of C4 we take it minus 2, and here it will be sin x. So for different values of C1, C2, C3, C4, we can have different curve, right? Which means that any differential equation have infinitely many curve or infinitely many solution. And what do you mean by that initial value problem you have studied? Which shows that there, I think you have proved the two parts. The first one you have proved is existence theorem. The second you
युनिकनेस.
uniqueness, right? So what those theorem actually tell you that out of those infinitely many solution, there exists a unique solution in the case of initial value problem. Initial value problem म्हणजे काय होता? Y of x naught is equal to some alpha, y dash of x naught is equals to some
बीटा.
beta, right? What do you mean by these condition? Y of x naught is alpha, y dash of x naught is beta. Why we call these as initial value problem? Because the value of dependent variable is provided as the single value of independent variable. इथे x naught चा एकच value आहे ना. Sometime we solve the example of the type y of 0 is say 0 and y of 1 is equal to say 1. So value of a dependent variable is provided at two different values of independent variable. What is an independent variable in this case is x, and values of x are provided at two different values 0 and 1. So this is called a boundary value problem. And what is the initial value problem? Value of dependent variable is provided at two same values of independent variable. And what this condition ensures that out of all those curve, you are going to get a unique curve. Okay, that is the uniqueness theorem ensures that out of all those curve or out of all those infinitely many solution you are getting, you are having only one unique solution which is passing through these 2 points. Right? Suppose if I am saying we are having infinitely many solution. So let us assume that this is a space of a solution of any differential equation and it may have a different curve. Okay. So out of all those curve, we can have one single curve which will be passing through these 2 points, and hence it is called a uniqueness. Okay. Now suppose now let us go for actually what will be the meaning of uniqueness. Okay. So as you are going to have this equation now, y is equal to c1 e raised to x, c2 e raised to minus x, c3 cos x, and c4 sin x. Suppose in this lecture only, if I told you that for different values of C1 and C2, C3, C4, everyone should write down different values of C1, C2, C3, C4 and write down one equation. So how many equations are possible? The number of students who are going to solve this, correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me see how many are present. 32 students. So we can have 32 solutions. No, that means out of infinitely many, we have found the 32, right? But now, if I am going to say that you have to find out a solution which satisfy the condition. What are the conditions given to us in this example is y of 0 is 0 and z of 0 is 0 and y of pi by 2 is 1, z of pi by 2 is minus 1. So now can anyone tell me how whether everyone will get the same answer or different one, just like a last case? कळालं का काय सांगितलं?
सेम आन्सर भेटेल मॅम.
सेम आन्सर आहे.
का? कारण की आपण इनिशियल कंडिशन दिलेत ना. इनिशियल कंडिशन जर चेंज झाले तर तुमचे C1 C2 चे व्हॅल्यूज चेंज होणार आहे कॉन्स्टंटचे. राईट. So what do you mean by having that unique solution? That means every student now is getting the same answer. But initially, if you told that you can take any values of C1, C2, rather you can take any boundary condition. So at that time you will get a different answers. So this existence and uniqueness shows that always there exists a unique solution for a initial value problem. Okay. Now let us go for solving these equations for our given values. So what is a value given to us? Y of 0 is equals to 0. Now what is the solution we have? Y is equals to C1 e raised to x plus C2 e raised to minus x plus C3 cos x plus C4 sin x. Now y of 0 is equal to 0 means what? We have to put the value of x as a 0 in this equation. So it will be C1 e raised to 0 plus C2 e raised to minus 0. It will be again 0. You can write minus 0 also. No doubt it will be again 0. So for 0 there is no positive or negative. C3 cos 0. What will be the value of cos 0? Can anyone tell me?
1
1
1
0.
0.
0.
Okay, so which is equals to C1 plus C2 plus C3 into 1. Sin 0 is 0, so we can have only one term. So we have, this is nothing but our first equation which we are going to solve for different values of C1, C2, C3, C4. Now let me rename this as equation 3 because already 1 and 2 we have used. Okay, now let us go for second condition. What is the second condition given to us? Z of 0 is 0, right? But we haven't found the solution in the form of z, correct? So to solve this equation, what we have to do now, we have to use this condition. What is the condition given to us in from equation 1 and 2? Z can be found with the help of y double dash. Equation 1 gives us z is nothing but y double dash. If z is nothing but y double dash, so we have to differentiate this equation so that we can find out the value of z. After finding a value of z, we can use this z of 0 is equal to 0 condition, and then we can find out one relation in between C1, C2, C3 and C4. Okay, have you understood this step?
Yes ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So let us go for finding y dash first. What will be y dash? C1 e raised to x plus C2, sorry, here will be negative because e raised to minus x, derivative is minus e raised to minus x. Derivative of cos x is sin x plus derivative of sin x is cos x. Now let us find out one more derivative, that is y double dash, which is nothing but the value of z. You can write here from equation 1. Right, z is equal to y double dash. So which is equals to C1 e raised to x minus minus will be plus because one more time we are going to differentiate. Sorry, it is negative. C3 derivative of sin x is cos x plus again derivative of cos x is minus sin. Sorry, it is 4 no, C4 sin x. Okay, now we will substitute z of 0 is equal to 0. Z of 0 is equals to 0, which is equals to C1 e raised to 0 plus C2 e raised to minus 0 minus C3 cos 0 minus C4 sin 0. Okay, so z of 0 is equal to 0, which means C1 plus this is C2 minus C3. Cos 0 is 1, sin 0 is 0, so this term will be eliminated and we get one more equation. Correct? This is say equation number 4. Now let us find out the next one. What is next values are given to us? Y of pi by 2 na?
Yes ma'am.
Okay, what is the value of y of pi by 2 given to
1.
pi by 2 is 1, z of pi by 2 is minus 1. Okay, y of pi by 2 is 1. So wherever you are having x, you have to put as pi by 2. Okay, let me write down this as C1 e raised to pi by 2 plus C2 e raised to minus pi by 2 plus C3 cos pi by 2 plus C4 sin pi by 2, which is equal to C1 e raised to pi by 2 काय येणार? Okay, let me keep it as it is. Later on we'll solve. What is the value of cos pi by 2?
0,
0.
What is the value of sin pi by 2?
1.
1.
So here we can have the next equation we get. This is what equation number 5. Now let us solve the next one. What is the next value given to us? Z of pi by 2 is equals to minus 1. Now what is the value of Z we can find? Z is nothing but y double dash. Y double dash we have already found. Okay. This is nothing but your y double dash. Okay. So let us put wherever you are having x, you have to put it as pi by 2 plus c2 e raised to minus pi by 2 minus c3 cos pi by 2 minus c4 sin pi by 2 minus 1 is equal to c1 e raised to pi by 2 plus c2 e raised to minus pi by 2 minus again what is the value of cos pi by 2
0.
0 sin pi by 2 1, so we can have this c4. So we can have this is nothing but equation number say 6. Okay. Now how many equations we have? 5, 6, 4, 3. We are having total 4 equations. 5, 6 and this is what equation number 3 and 4. 3, 4, 5, 6. All these 4 equations involve in the C1, C2, C3 and C4. So now we get 4 equation in 4 unknown. झालं हे? 4 equation in 4 unknown. How to solve this equation?
सिस्टीम ऑफ लिनियर मॅट्रिक्स मध्ये लिहून x इक्वल टू b.
You can solve by that method also, or you can solve easily with the help of multipliers also. Correct?
येस मॅम.
Will you do it now? Write down all these equations and try to solve and get tell me the answer, that is values of C1, C2, C3 and C4. This is equation 3, 4. You can use 3 and 4 because if you use 3 and 4, you can get C1 is equal to minus C2. Equation 5 and 6, C4 can get cancelled by adding these two equations. You will get again one more relation in between C1 and C2. Solve it fastly and tell me the values of C1, C2, C3 and C4. लिहून घेतले 4 इक्वेशन, इक्वेशन 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, let me solve it myself. What we'll do, we can have the from equation 3 and 4. From equation 3 and 4, we can write it is nothing but C1 plus C2 plus C3 is equal to 0. Next equation is C1 plus C2 minus C3 is equal to 0. And from equation number 5 and 6, we can have C1 e raised to pi by 2 plus C2 e raised to minus pi by 2 plus C4 is equal to 1. Next equation is C1 e raised to pi by 2 plus C2 e raised to minus pi by 2 minus C4 is equal to minus 1. Now what I can do, I can add this equation C3 get cancelled, we get the value 2 times C1 plus C2 is equals to 0. So here also C4 get cancelled, plus minus, this will also be 0. So what we get is C1, so 2 times I can take outside C1 e raised to pi by 2 plus C2 e raised to minus pi by 2, which is equal to 0. So hence from this equation I can write C1 is equal to minus C2. Now use this in this equation. Whenever you are having the value of C1, put it as minus C2. Right? 2 you can get merge out and you can cancel it. By dividing 2, we can have C1 plus C2 is equal to 0. C1 plus C2 equal to 0 means C1 is equal to minus C2. Here also you can divide by 2 and you can get the value of this term as C1 e raised to pi by 2 plus C2 e raised to minus pi by 2 is equal to 0. Wherever you are having a value of C1, you can put it as minus C2 e raised to pi by 2 plus C2 e raised to minus pi by 2, which is equal to 0. Now if I take C2 outside, what I remains inside the bracket, minus e raised to pi by 2 plus e raised to minus pi by 2, which is equal to 0. Now just now I have shown you that the graph of e raised to x or e raised to anything is non-zero. So if product of these two terms is equal to 0, which means that either of them is 0 without 0 divisor. Because whatever we are discussing is on R. R is a field. If R is a field, if real line is a field, the product of these two terms is 0, which means that either of them is non-zero. हे तर नॉन झिरो आहे म्हणजे कुठला झिरो असणार आहे प्रोडक्ट झिरो असेल तर C2 झिरो असणार आहे C2 is 0. What do you mean by C1? C1 is nothing but minus C2 and hence we get the value of a C1 is also 0. Okay, what I have done, simply I have added equation 3 and 4, equation 5 and 6, and then we got the relation. After getting the relation, the terms we are using is C1 is equal to minus C2. We have to use in equation 2. After using that, the product of these two is 0, but we know that the graph of e raised to x is now always non-zero, and hence we can have हे दोन्ही इक्वल आहे म्हणून कट करू नका हे इथे e raised to minus pi by 2 आहे इथे e raised to plus pi by 2 आहे right. So C2 is 0, which means that C1 is 0, since you can write the reason C1 is equal to minus C2 or C2 is equal to minus C1. Now what are remaining things we have to calculate now? We have to now calculate the values of C3 and C4, which we can calculate directly from equation 3. What is equation 3? C1 plus C2 plus C3 is equal to 0. Now if the value of C1 and C2 both are 0, which is equal to 0, which means that the value of a C3 is 0. Similarly, we can find out the value of a C4. What will be the value of a C4? Which we can use by using our equation number 4, 5, sorry, 3, 4 we have already used. 5. Equation 5 is C1 e raised to pi by 2 plus C3 e raised, sorry, C2 minus pi by 2 plus C4, right? So what is the value of C1 we got is 0. C2 is also 0. So C4. So what is the value of a C4 now we can get is nothing but C4 is equal to 1. Now all those values we have to put in our equation. What was our equation? We have obtained the solution C1 e raised to x plus C2 e raised to minus x plus C3 cos x plus C4 sin x. Right? Now we have to just put up the values of those terms. C1 C2 है तर 0 चाले, C3 पण 0 है, C4 च्या व्हॅल्यू 1 आली तर सोल्युशन काय येणार आहे y is equal to sin x. If you are assuming that we have completed the example, then you are wrong. Why it is wrong? Because what I told you, we are in the second case. What do you mean by we are in the second case? We have to use a second condition, right? So we are having two dependent variable. If we are having two dependent variable, here I of y of x and z of x. So simply we have found the value of y. So now still we have to find out the value of a z. The value of z we can find out with the help of a this thing. Equation 1. What do you mean by our equation 1? Z is equal to y double dash. What did equation shows you? The value of z is nothing but y double dash. Okay. So what is the value of z is nothing but y double dash. So what is the second derivative of sin x? First derivative is cos x. One more derivative
minus sin x.
is minus sin x. So what are the solutions of our equation? Y is equal to sin x is solution, as well as z is equal to minus sin x is also a solution, and hence the proof. Rather, we have solved the example. And this example may be asked for 7 marks question. Okay. Is there any doubt for solving these type of examples? Simply you have to solve the differential equations, na? दोन डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन्स घ्यायचे किती डिपेंडेंट व्हेरिएबल आहे तेवढे राईट सो वी आर हॅव्हिंग टू डिपेंडेंट व्हेरिएबल यू हॅव टू सॉल्व इट बाय युझिंग two Euler Lagrange's equation which are in terms of y as well as in terms of z. Now we have to use these two equations so that we can have single equation. Okay, wherever you are having a value of y, put it as z double dash, or you can put the value of a z from equation 1, and we got one equation that is y raised to 4 minus y is equal to 0, which means that the characteristic equation is r raised to 4 minus 1 is equal to 0. Then we find the roots. After finding the root, we can write down the solution, and for different values of C1, C2, C3, C4, we can have different curve. Out of all those curve, we are selecting a single curve. That single curve will satisfy all those initial condition. What are those initial condition? Y of 0 is 0, z of 0 is 0, and y of 5 by 2 is 1, z of 5 by 2 is minus 1. After solving 4 equation in 4 unknown, we get the result. The values of C1, C2, C3 all are 0 and value of C4 is 1, and hence the result. Now here also you can see. आता आधी आपण काय सांगत होतो हे सोल्युशन आहे ना. What is the solution of our differential equation? C1 e raised to x, C2 e raised to minus x, C3 cos x, and C4 sin x. Okay, but after using the conditions, what we got the solution? Y is equal to sin x only. Okay, so which means that we can have y is equal to sin x is a graph of this solution, but it is only related to your given initial condition. If I am going to change the condition, the result will be different. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us.
No, ma'am.
Kajal Bhopale raised the hand. What is the problem?
No, ma'am, it's by mistake.
Okay. Now let us go for the. We'll see only the statement for that. That is next version of our Euler-Lagrange's theorem. Okay, up to now we have we have seen the two version. First is only with x, y, y dash. The second one with independent variable. The third one we'll have is derive the Euler-Lagrange's equation satisfied by 4 times differentiable function. Up to now we have seen the 2 times differentiable function. Satisfied 2 times differentiable function. Okay, if you are having a notes, go through the notes, read the statement. You can have the difference between the statements of Euler-Lagrange's theorem. Okay. So now we have to solve the equation which is 4 times differentiable. So let me write down this. Derive the Euler-Lagrange equation satisfied by 4 times differentiable function y, which extremizes the integral. Let me write down the whole. Derive Euler-Lagrange's equation satisfied by 4 times differentiable function y, 4 times differentiable function y, which extremizes the integral, which extremizes the integral, extremizes the integral I is equals to integration say x1 to x2 f of x y dash and y double dash dx. Up to now we have seen x y dash only for first one. Second one x y1 y2 up to so on y. We can write x y dash y dash. And here simply we have x y dash y double dash. Under the condition of both y and y dash are prescribed at the endpoint. That is, we are provided that y of x1 is y1 and y of x2 is y2. Okay. Now we have to go through the same conditions. That is, we have to take any 2 points P and Q on the 2D plane, and there are infinitely many ways to join these 2 points. And later on, we are going to find out one more Euler-Lagrange's equation, which is having I to be extremum. Okay, what is I to what we have to find out one Euler-Lagrange's equation in such a way that we are getting the value of I should be extreme. Okay. Now, as we have seen it 2 times, can anyone tell me what will be the steps to prove the result? अभ्यास करा, फिजिकल एग्जाम येणार आहे. ऑनलाइन नाही, ऑनलाइन लेक्चर केलं तर ठीक आहे, बट स्टिल यू कॅन अपियर फॉर द फिजिकल एक्झाम.
फर्स्ट पाथ कन्सिडर करायचा, देन आय इक्वल टू इंटिग्रेशन जे दिलेलं असेल ते घ्यायचं. नंतर ना त्या कंडिशन अल्फा इज इक्वल टू 0 वगैरे ठेवून तो पाथ एक्झॅक्ट आहे हे दाखवायचं. नंतर ना आय एक्स्ट्रीमम होण्यासाठी फर्स्ट डेरिव्हेटिव्ह ऑफ आय मस्ट बी 0 अँड देन सॉल्विंग फॉर दॅट बेसिक लेमा then we will get required Euler Lagrange's equation.
Correct. You can say Euler or Euler. It is having a confusion. Okay. So what are the steps we have to follow? First, we have to write down those conditions. There are infinitely many paths from P and Q. Then we have to write down in the form of y of x alpha is equals to what will be the condition? Y of x0 plus alpha times eta of x. For different values of alpha, we get different curve, and for alpha equal to 0, we get the correct curve. And then if we are going to use basic lemma of calculus of variation, eta of x1, eta of x2 should be equal to 0, which ensures that all the paths are passing from points P and Q. Okay. After that, we have to solve the integration by using these condition. I is equals to integration x1 to x2 f of x. Instead of this, we can have y of x alpha, and here it is y dash of x comma alpha, and next it is y double dash of x comma alpha. Next, if I want to find out extreme of this, what do you mean by extreme of this? First derivative we should equal to 0. Okay, we have to equate first derivative to 0. After finding the first derivative, we have to simply evaluate the integration. But in this case, while evaluating integration, if you remember, we have solved the integration by parts for this one. But now we have to solve the integration by parts for this term 2 times. Okay, so we have to use integration by parts for the 4th term 2 times. No doubt this will be 0 after a derivative. Here will be some term. Here this we have to solve integration by parts, and here we have to use integration by parts 2 times, and we get the result. Okay, try to solve this, and you have to tell me the equation in the next lecture. If you are not able to solve, no doubt we will solve in the next lecture. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Those who want to write down can write down. If you are going to solve, you may have a help from these conditions. Okay, x, y dash, y double dash, and what is the equation? We have to solve this equation. Try to solve, and you have to tell me the what will be the final Euler-Lagrange's equation. As I given you a hint, you have to use 2 times integration by part for the one term which we are going to solve.
Okay, ma'am.
And then in the next lecture, we'll go with some examples of this, and we'll go for next is isoperimetric problem. Okay, if you have written, let me end the lecture.
Ma'am, we have solved the catenary equation.
Okay, can anyone tell me?
Revolution about x-axis.
Revolved about axis. Yes, yes, you can say me the answer.
Y is equal to c cos hyperbolic of x minus b upon c.
X minus b upon c. Wherever you are having x, you have to just replace it by y. If you want to go for the shortcut in the setness examination, but if you want to solve theoretically, then you can get the answer. Whatever we have solved for about y-axis, it is exactly the reverse one. That is, wherever you are having x, you have to replace it by y. Okay, good one. Anyone else solved it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Try to solve this one also. You can now join the next lecture. Thank you. कांचन शेंडगे, लीव द मीटिंग. कुठे गेलेत?